Gentlemen, we're here at the end of ICANN 45 in Toronto. Steve, what are your takeaways for the week?
This was, first of all, a very, very good week. We have the advantage, of course, that Fadi has stepped in very firmly and has just made an enormously positive impression on everybody. And even beyond the positive impression, has taken multiple steps and across every front. And the community response is overwhelmingly positive. And so that makes it pretty easy from my point of view. It's a great position for us to be in. Progress across every front.
Fadi, what are your observations coming out of your first ICANN meeting as CEO?
The community wants the work done at ICANN. And I feel that during this week, they saw themselves that we have a new leadership and a new spirit that will allow us to get our work done here. And frankly, it's a sign to the world as well that ICANN works. ICANN is a place where civil society, governments, businesses, users can all come and get the business they need done at ICANN efficiently. There are things we need to do to improve, but certainly this week showed that the will to get there is in place, and we're in motion now.
Fadi, we've heard nothing but praise about your leadership style, but with the end of this meeting, does this mean your honeymoon period has come to an end?
Look, the only honeymoon period I'm worried about is the one where we can all look back and say we had our best effort put in to improve what ICANN needs to do and deliver. That's the only thing that matters to me. This is not about me. This is about people coming together and feeling that we're moving forward with the work at ICANN. So frankly, I hope we stay in this spirit, we stay in this openness. I've seen people several times this week cross to the other side of the line and listen to the other party and actually react and embrace the other party's position at some times. This is how communities get their work done. So that's what I hope lasts.
Let's talk about new gTLDs. Shortly before this meeting began, we announced the prioritization draw. What sort of reaction are you hearing?
Overwhelmingly positive. Why? Because it wasn't a perfect solution for one group or another group. Or it's the positive reaction is we have a solution. It works. Let's move forward. So I feel that there is a collective sigh of relief that we have a mechanism that is equitable, that is fair, that is very transparent and simple in many ways, that allows us to move forward. And the surprising part was the proposal to put the international domain names first, the IDNs first. Many people thought that this will have maybe a visceral reaction from some members of the community. Quite remarkably, people are embracing that idea. In fact, some of the biggest applicants to new gTLDs in my office came in and agreed with me that this shows that the new leadership that is not just in ICANN staff, but the new leadership spirit across the community agrees that in the public interest and in our focus on global outreach, this is the right thing to do.
How do you envision the day of the draw?
So this is pretty straightforward. A going to have all the people who purchased their tickets to the draw have their tickets placed in a drawing. We will draw them one at a time, literally. Of course, that will be done with the supervision of an independent auditor that will be there, and it will also be available online, live for everyone to see. And we will come out of that with a very specific draw number for each of the 1,923 applications. As these draw numbers get handed, then they'll become the mechanism by which we advance people through the multiple gates in the process of delegation.
Steve, why didn't we just do the prioritization draw in the beginning? Why go through digital archery, which was never well received?
Well, it's a good question, and one that's puzzled a number of us. Originally, the notion of a random selection was viewed through the lens of calling it a lottery, and that triggered legal opinions that said this was illegal, and that caused us to go off in a different direction and try this digital archery and so forth. Revisiting the question about random selection, and Fadi actually gets enormous credit for asking the most straightforward question, like, why can't we do this? Caused it to be rethought and looked at through a somewhat different lens of the way churches do raffles and so forth. And all of a sudden, the mists parted, and we could see more clearly how to do this.
Steve, are the rights protection mechanisms adequate?
Well, you know, if you ask the people who are continually concerned and keep raising the bar, the answer from their point of view will be, well, it's not sufficient yet. There's no absolutely perfect answer, but enormous amount of attention has been given to this, and lots of mechanisms for protecting rights. So I would say, in the main, the answer is yes. Are we going to satisfy everybody? No. Are we going to have a workable system? I think clearly yes.
Fadi, let me ask you about the objection mechanisms. Are they adequate?
I think we have reached a very good arrangement that everyone seems to accept. We're going to extend the objection period to March 13th. We are waiting for the community to comment on that, and certainly, hopefully, they will accept our proposal. It is not quite where some people wanted it to stay in January, and it's not quite where some people wanted it to go to June, but sometimes middle of the way solutions get everybody on the same page, and I hope the community accepts our proposition to extend them a little bit and allow people to react in time, and we move forward.
Talk to me about the RAA. Are we ever going to see an agreement here again? It seems like it goes on and on and on.
Indeed, indeed, and I know people are very frustrated with the length of time it's taken us to bring people together around the RAA. I'm coming out of Toronto with two priorities for this year. The first one is obviously to get the Trademark Clearinghouse to work as best as possible for all parties to agree we have a mechanism that can satisfy the interests of the parties. The second one is the RA. Without question, I'm going to be inserting myself personally in both of these, including the RA. And I've already discussed this with members of the community, and there is frankly universal agreement that if I participate personally into these activities, I would help the activities come to hopefully reasonable conclusions that we can all bank on and move forward to next year and the new gTLDs.
Fadi, given the reaction, the very positive reaction about all the things that you've promised, are you at all concerned about being able to live up to those promises?
I am always concerned to meet the commitments I made, and I rarely make commitments lightly. These are very, very important matters at hand. So one of the things I'm going to do to put everyone in a very clear understanding of what is it that I'm doing is after Toronto, I will take the time with my team, and in fact we're spending all of Sunday together, coming Sunday, to actually plan out what we're going to do between now and Beijing in detail, and we will publish that to the whole community so that people are clear what is it that we plan to deliver by Beijing, and there is joint understanding, and this will be a little bit of our scorecard, and that's okay. That exposes us to commitments, but frankly, that's what I'm here to do. And I will put all my team, all of the staff, on call to actually deliver on these things as best I can.
Steve, given Fadi's focus on internationalization, do you have any major concerns going into the IGF meeting in Baku?
No, I think we're basically in very good shape in that regard. The emphasis that we're putting on internationalization, as you say, is now made quite firmly and visibly to the world. We've said that. We're taking steps in each area. substantial effort in Africa, but that's just the first of a process of looking at every region, every sub-region actually across the globe. And I think over a period of time will have an enormous impact on the way ICANN, on ICANN's effectiveness, on actually getting our job done, and on the way that we're viewed, and interactions with governments, interactions with technical community, interactions with business community, and so forth.
Fadi, let me ask you, as we get closer to the ITU meeting in Dubai in December, voices are becoming more elevated, which will probably increase as we get closer to that meeting. Are you at all concerned about that meeting?
I'm not concerned if we do our part. And our part is to show the world that ICANN works, to show the world that the community at ICANN is a true multi-equal stakeholder community, not just an intergovernmental community that makes decisions together, including all voices. So my focus is not on the ITU. My focus is on getting our work done and to ensure that the world appreciates and understands what we do. And therefore, my focus is going to be on engagement. Engage, engage, engage. We're going out, we're fanning out like a little volcano out of Los Angeles, all of us, heading to the corners of the world, to Brazil, to India, to China, to Turkey, to various parts of the world that need to hear about the work of ICANN, and more importantly, that are thirsty to engage in the process. We will give them means and mechanisms to be ICANN themselves. ICANN is not ours. ICANN is a world resource that will help people around the planet really come together and continue this great enterprise that started in the US and in LA, but is now the world's.
Finally, gentlemen, let me ask you this. We've looked back at this Toronto meeting. Let's look ahead to Beijing. What do you think will define the Beijing meeting?
First of all, we're going to the largest internet user community on the planet. More than 500 million people use the internet in China. Over 1 billion mobile users in one country. What an exciting place to go. I can't wait to take the ICANN community back to China. We already had a visit with Shanghai a few years ago, but I think the world has changed, the internet has changed, and China has changed since then. So this will be, I think, a historic moment for us, a historic moment for the internet community in China. And I must say, our hosts in China who came and visited us here have shown me a remarkable embrace for ICANN and for the ICANN community, and the planning that is being done gives me the feeling that this will be a historic moment for us to embrace China, to engage with China, and to take the things that Rod Beckstrom did before me in laying foundations of our relationship with China to the next level.
Steve?
Well, a strong emphasis on everything that Fadi has said. Let me set it in a temporal context as well. This period from now until our meeting in Beijing will be one of the longest, if not the longest, interval between meetings. We typically have, there is sometimes as short as 3 months, sometimes as long as 5 months. This one is even a little longer, it's 6 months. So there'll be a great emphasis on what gets done between now and then, and what progress we're able to show. As you said earlier, there's a number of promises on the table, and by the time we get to Beijing, there will be expectations that there will have been delivery across many of those promises. So this will be a very challenging time that is less visible as we, because of no meetings and because of holidays and so forth. And yet I'm expecting that there will be substantial progress. You can pick it. You talk about the RAA. That'll be history by that time, I'm sure. The gTLD program will be in a whole different shape. Will be well underway. The drawing will be behind us. Everything. And you can just go down the line. There'll be sort of a trip hammer effect of many different things. So here in Toronto, excellent meeting, great feeling, a lot of positive expectations built up. By the time we get to Beijing, I think we will also have an extraordinary positive feeling, and it will be built upon my goodness, look at all of the things that we've done, and just boom, boom, boom.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
Thank
and thank
you.
you, Steve, for a great conference.
It's fantastic.